Let's look at our replay log. So as we discussed in our previous session, replay log is the one which shows all your script replay output. But if you look at your username and password here, so let's look at what is the username here, helpingtesters2@gmail.com. You won't be finding your username here because your replay log has to show the statistics of what are the parameters that you substitute in your script, but it is not showing. So to ensure that your replay log is showing the parameters name, you must go to the runtime settings from here and you go into the log option. So there you need to enable extended log and parameter substitution. So if you select extended log and parameter substitutions, whatever the parameters that are part of your script, so those values will be shown in blue color. So let's select it and complete it. So let me save the script. As soon as you make any changes in runtime settings, you must save those settings. I'm just closing it now. So let me replay. So let me put the right account now. So and because these two accounts are not there, so this the first account is there in our web application registration. So I'm just changing it. Let me replay it again. If you look at here in the replay log, so now we are seeing some blue color text which is showing like which parameter is being substituted in your script on the respective steps. See, if you look at here, so username has been substituted as helpingtesters.com. So okay, this window will scroll down since your script replay is still going on. You can scroll down or scroll back to see where those values. See, okay, let's complete the script. Okay, script replay is completed now. So let's check with the whatever the username that you have passed as a parameter. See, your parameter value has been shown here. Says I'm substituting in place of username with this value. So this value will be go and substituted here by the virtual user generator and the respective password. Okay, and I was also referring to something, right? So here username values will be substituted as helpingtesterspt.com. So this is the one which I was referring to here. So if you select this option, it will clearly show your username value has been substituted. But if you select by number, it will show value for the index one has been value for the column one has been picked like this. So this is how it will be, but as a best practice you always select the by name, so you will be easily able to correlate with username and with the respective value that is being substituted in your script. So this is the simplest way that you do parameterization. Likewise, you can parameterize n number of values. So as of now, if you look at here, email and the password, these things that we have entered, but there are some other value which will not be changed, and these values will be static. So even I can change this value will not be changed for a while. So I can copy this value. Even I can make I can make my account as a parameter. Let me do that. So I'm giving name for it, back option. You can create another dat file for it, or you can combine that back option as part of your username. Right now I'm just trying to create it as a separate entity. So let me enter it here. I'm just selecting by name, back option, just click on close. So now I can go and replace that value also here, back option. So whenever you replay your script, so this value will be also substituted. Now let's get into some advanced options available in parameters. So let's say we are trying to execute this script for 3 users, and what happens whenever if you are executing your script for 3 users, let's see how these values will be substituted for each of the script. So for that option we can use the simulate. So here if you look at select next row is selected as a sequential. So select next row has various options: sequential, random, unique, and same line as a back option. So let's look at the sequential. Okay, so by selecting sequential, let's look at simulate parameter. So just we're going to have three users and only one iteration, just say simulate. So what happens, all the users will be picked up the very first value in the parameter list. If you select sequential option, if you select the sequential option, all the users, all the three users, whatever you want to execute, so those three users will be picking up the first value. So though you put 100 values, those 100 values will be picking the same value because you have selected the sequential for the first iteration. Means, let me tell you one thing about the iteration. So iterations are nothing but how many times you want to execute these steps one after the other. Let's say if you make the iterations as 2, these all steps or whatever the actions that you mentioned, those will be executed those many number of times, nothing but 2 times if you make it as a 2. Okay, let me show you where you can set that iteration settings. Go to your runtime settings. Here, if you select number of iterations as 2, it will go and take your respective action file into 2 times. So we don't need to worry about it. I will take some advanced clauses on this runtime settings. As of now, just remember it as it will, we have mentioned here number of iteration as 2, so it will execute this respective action for 2 times. Let's close this. We don't want to make any changes. Let's go back to the parameters. So here we are mentioned here number of users as 3. So if you simulate, so since we selected sequential, it will get into each user will be the picked the very first item. So all the users will be taken same value for the first iteration. Let's say user having the 2 iterations. Okay, so here I'm mentioning the 2 iterations are 2 times will be, users will be doing the iteration. So let's say simulate. See here, for the first iteration, all the users will be taking first value, and for the second iteration, second value, and third iteration, third value. So if you mention sequentially, all the users in each iteration will be having the same value. Okay, now let's look at the other option, random. Random is nothing but some random value will be picked up based on your parameters. So let's simulate this random. So we are not certain about how it will be picking up the random values. So we cannot determine how it, because it's random. Okay, let me simulate it for the 3 users again for the 3 iterations, so that we cannot determine, it will pick some random values out of it. So if you look at it here, it took sequentially, but it is not sequential. So if you look at the second option, second iteration, see, it has to script to script, helping testers pt at the gmail.com the 2 times, and second email as 2 times. And if you look at the third, so it has to at a different instance randomly. So randomly will pick these values randomly. And the next one is unique. Let's don't worry about the unique now. Go to simulate parameters. Here we are trying to simulate unique with 3 users and 3 iterations. Right now it is showing values for only first iteration, because whenever you select the unique, it will pick each value for each user. So right now we are trying to simulate it for 3 users for 3 iterations. Since we are only having the 3 values, so these 3 values are not sufficient to be unique for the next iteration, because you should be having another set of 3 values if you want to get for the second iteration. And also if you want to get for the third iteration, you must be having another set of 3 values. So unique will be considering each user gets a unique value for their iteration. Now let's look at the other option, update value on. See, we are trying to say 3 iterations, right? So in this 3 iteration, we are not having multiple values, so that's why those values are not sufficient for next iteration. But if you select each occurrence means in your script may be having n number of places. Let's say we are submitting username here, and in some place of your script we are having again your username substituted. Let's say we are trying to put here, so If you select this option unique with each occurrence, it means whenever you see the username field, it will try and substitute a unique value there. So since here we don't have multiple occurrences, we cannot show it accurately. But going forward, you if your script is very big and you may be having multiple situations, so that in that case it will be helpful to simulate like each occurrence. So whenever, as soon as it finds a place in particular iteration, it will try find and substitute new value at each place. And the next option is the one. So whenever you select the ones, for the simplifying, I just have added few more users, nothing but totally we have 9 credentials. Let's do simulate now with the unique and ones. Just click on simulate. See, for the first user, though it may be n number of iteration, it has took only one value. So for the first iteration it took only helping testers pt, helping test. For the second iteration it took helping testers pt, and for the third iteration it took helping testers pt. So though n number of iterations, if you select unique and ones, it will take only the one value for all the iteration. Okay, but in terms of the user, let's say for the user 2 it has took different unique value, and for user 3 it has took different unique value. So whenever you select unique ones, it will take unique value for each user but not for the each iteration. See, for the first user, second user, third user, it is unique, but for the in terms of iteration, see, first user, for the first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, each user has got the same value. So these are the various parameters or parameter options available whenever you want to simulate with a different set of conditions. It may be sequential, random, unique, and same time. So in the username and password creating parameters, we have already seen how to create an association between your parameters. So this is the password parameter. Let me try substitute here. I forgot to do. So you're going to substitute here to create your password field to depend on the username. So whenever username gets, so the password will be automatically picked from the same line. So this is nothing but an association mapping with the username and password. Okay, so these are the values how you can do parameterization with the some external data source. I just mentioned we can I will show that these data files will be part of your scripts. Either you can put this data file somewhere and you can import using the import parameter, or if you create like just we created, we will be seeing them as part of your script. So let's go back and see in your script folder. If you look at here, this is the username.dat file which was created as part of your parameters. Likewise, your script may be containing a number of values that you may be entering, or you may be having some static values as part of your script. So using parameterization, file parameterization, we can substitute all those values in a file and we can pass it to the script. So far we have learned about file parameters. So in our next session we are going to learn about various parameters, built-in parameters that are available with the virtual user generator parameters.